Hey, this your girl, and you're all in with me, All.i.C. So already, let me go right into this, y'all. So I've been a little late, but this is officially, there go my loud neighbors. Anyway, this is officially it. Welcome to Derry, episode 1, season 1, okay? So this is the pilot, y'all, and it's peanuts, walnuts, cashews, pecans, it's nuts. And I have my little rating scale down there. I'm gonna say 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I mean, from the visuals to the detail to the history of it and the time period. I believe it was like 1962, like in this, I'll say, I guess, middle class type of neighborhood, and it has the make America great type of thing, like when it was such a happier time and no one worried about anything. But lo and behold, they was in a whole quandary of sinister stuff, and they're there in a town that has an army base, all that stuff or whatever, and the whole town is wacky animaniacs. Like, the kid's the only one that got the sense. So, soon as we get into it, we are in a movie theater. It's the Capitol Theater, movie theater in the movie or whatever in Derry. And it's, they showing people in there watching, they smoking, you can't smoke openly like that no more. Then it's a little boy, he putting a hickey on the girl neck, and another lady, she just, just despicable. That's how she looking at him. Then she turned around, it's a little boy, sound like what's the little sister Maggie off the Simpsons back there. I would have been mad too, cause boy, you too big be having that. But they don't know this little baby going through some things. Anyway, we don't even know his name. So we see him and he watching a movie, and it's almost kind of like a movie that would make you think of like the Wizard of Oz, and they singing and it's people in there and it's a guy and he's, your children shouldn't be doing this and that or whatever. But, like that guy say, message, he was talking about something like the nuclear family and the new age way of things and its trouble and all this stuff, whatever. So the little boy watching the movie, and he had been there evidently a couple of times, and he wasn't paying because he didn't want to be at home. That's the backstory that we finding out. So the dude Cal, he chasing him out or whatever, and so the little boy Maddie, he runs out and he doesn't want to get caught. It's things going on at home, so he like, shoot, I'm gonna just stay at the movie theater, I guess, or whatever, and listen to that crazy song that plays around. So it's a little girl named Ronnie. Her dad, Hank, works there at the theater. And he's teaching her the ropes about all those things, whatever, maybe just the filming agency, Hollywood, all of that, whatever. And she sees the little boy. At first, they don't name his name. They say the Clements boy is what the movie attendant Cal said. So he's chasing, looking for him. Of course, Ronnie, she got a little street smart. She got a little, she hip to the game. So she see him and she looked down, and they like, hey, did you see a little boy? And she like, yeah, he went that way. Big mistake. First of all, Ronnie, I know you meant well, but mind your business. Because really, maybe if the little boy, I can't say it all. Maybe if the little boy you would have told, maybe he could have went back home. But then when you kind of start looking at the little boy, he got a ring around his eye, so I'm assuming, his daddy done popped him, did something to him. He got a black eye, whatever, it's red. So the girl's dad, Hank, he say, did you see anybody, blah, blah, blah. She lie. And the little boy kind of relieved. So the movie attendant, he run outside, he looking for him. And so the dad and the daughter, she turn around looking at the little boy like, hope you're going to be safe. And they walk on about their business. So the guy finds him, and the little boy, he just run out into the dark. It's cold. And he was like, I better not catch you here. He ain't care nothing about what the little boy was going through. What is it hurting you that he in there? He wasn't making, well, I guess the noise and the pacifier gave it away. So, but anyway, you know, my bad. So even the Hank guy was like, what's going on with his family or whatever. So just take it easy. And the guy like, whatever. So he chased the little boy on up out of there. And the little boy, he's walking outside in the cold and it's snowing. And you see the sign, Welcome to Derry, and it has Paul Bunyan on there, the lumberjack. I guess, signifying like a strong town and all the legends of Paul Bunyan, but I ain't gonna get into no history lesson. Anyway, so the little boy, he hitchhiking. We don't really do that no more. We're gonna call her Uber. You see, we got a phone on us. But anyway, like I said, very detailed. So it's this model. I don't know if it was a pink car or white, whatever. It comes and it's a lady, it's a family. And so the lady like, oh, you're going to catch your death. Get in. Where are you going? So he get in. And because he's probably being abused at home, he like, yes, I done found somebody. So they like, where are you trying to go? We're going to Portland. And he's like, anywhere but Derry. So he gets in and there's two kids in there. The daughter named Arlene. The son, I think, was Roy. The little boy, she's like, yeah, he's a speller. So this little boy starts spelling stuff. He's spelling little stuff like cat, C-A-T, little stuff. Then all of a sudden he starts spelling bigger words and all this stuff, whatever. And on the radio, you hear something about the nuclear this and all this. Now, keep in mind, this town is by some army base. So, it's some doo-doo-doo-doo stuff going on. So everybody in the car, they just seem off. Even when you get in the car, the sister looked like Wednesday. And so she pulls out something, and it's some nasty liver, sticky. I bet when she opened it up, it stunk. So she tried to touch the boy, and he's scared or whatever. His name is Maddie. So he kind of just peeping like, there's some weird stuff going on. So the mom's like, be nice, and call the daughter a harlot. Like, it was just some other stuff, the things that they were saying. And the dad was like, yeah, she should close her legs like you. Like, what kind of y'all on? Like, Maddie, jump out now. So they driving around or whatever, and he just starts seeing, hearing the words and the mother telling the son different words and all of that. And he like, oh, no. So Maddie like, no, I'm not trying to go back to Derry. They done turned around. They supposed to be to Portland. They done took him all the way back to Derry. He like, nah, he trying to wreck the car. He done hit the lady, and she pregnant. Now, keep in mind, of course, she's pregnant, but just the illusion of a better looking family probably made him even get in the car. He was so desperate. So the mama, he hit her stomach and she just, oh, she pregnant, and one little knock and here come the little demon, baby. And when I say they got graphic, I mean, they basically showed the baby coming out the U-Haul down there, and just he pushing out out of drawers like, what kind of mess is this baby? And she's pushing and all that stuff, whatever, and the dad and them just driving, so Maddie just, he back there just about to freak out, and everybody just, they all come and also doing crazy stuff at the same time. So the baby shoots on out. And when the mama go to try to get the little thing, he take off and start flying with a half arm and wing, and another baby attached to him with no eyes. Like, they eyes is in their sockets. Only the face that a mother could love, So the little baby thing, he flying all over the car. And he's still attached to the mama with the umbilical cord. And Maddie, I'm thinking, I mean, dude, they had a pair of skates and some other stuff. Man, hit that window and get out. So he trying to get out, and the baby done kind of ducked off in the back of the car. And all of a sudden, he fly back up there, and then the family turn around, and Maddie get this pacifier, and he just shut down. And the baby I guess the baby hit him so hard that the pacifier, now they in a car with the window, and the pacifier just fly out the car. He knocked the pacifier out this boy. And it goes into the drain, and that, of course, reminds you of like the original It, him being by the sewer and all of that. And there you have it. That's just the beginning, and that's like 10 minutes. It's already action-packed, like, and very detailed, very graphic, very gruesome, very disgusting, bloody, eerie. So next is 4 months in. So this was, I guess, at the beginning of the year, and you don't really notice until they kind of go back and forward. It's one of those types of shows where it shows you one thing and then it switches back and then it goes back and forth. So you got to kind of keep up. It's very detailed. So next It's 4 months, and you see a little boy. He's on some type of tower where you can look over the town, and he's writing down all these types of planes, very detailed, that are coming into their city. So the kid realized, like, where are all these planes coming here? But this is where they're thinking it's gonna be World War III and all this stuff, whatever. I don't know if Vietnam. I forgot what war it was. Kennedy was in office. I know they talked about it, but I can't think of what war it possibly was at that time or whatever. So after you see the little boy to collect his little notes and he being nosy, you come in and you see two guys dressed in their military uniforms, whatever, and one is what is his name, Dr. Major Hanlon, and then his homeboy, I forget his name, Polly. So of course they get out, and Hanlon is more professional. They was like, "How was your ride?" Blah blah blah, this and that, and he was like, "Oh, it was good." The other guy was like, "Nah, it was rough. It was tough." He ain't lying, cause it wasn't right. We trying to figure out what y'all need us here for. So evidently they had came from Korea, war vets, but they didn't finish their mission. So Derry was the next place for them to come, right? So they're like, well, yeah, Colonel Shaw, he couldn't meet you right now, and that was also a flashback of him before the little boy, and it's like some about Colonel Shaw, I don't know, because he knows something and he's like eerie too or whatever. And so he couldn't meet them at the moment. So they get in there and they meet all their other, I don't want to say cellmates. What do they call them? It was like 6 other guys, and they're painting the Air Force, whatever, planes and stuff. And so it's one guy, because racial tension was high. Major Hanlon is a black guy. And so the guy Masters, he kept doing what he was doing, oiling up his little can or whatever, wiping it down. Like, I don't care nothing about you, being one of them type of people, whatever. So Major Hanlon checked him, like, hey, man, I got these stripes. You gonna fall in line, blah, blah, blah. He didn't really go off on him or whatever. But then Colonel Shaw came in and was like, is there a problem? Oh, no, no, no. It's not no. Oh, okay. So cleared that up real quick, right? And another detail, as Major Hanlon and them coming in, Paulie asked them, he look over there, and the driver guy, he just come to find out his name is Dick Holleran. He kind of giving him the bombastic side. I like. So the other guy was like, "What's that gated all up?" And it say restricted. They here for a special program and spying, whatever it is, special service project. What else can be behind them gates? And so that was kind of weird or whatever. So he picked up on that, and he's talking to Major Hanlon, and he's like, hey, you going to be staying on base? He was like, for a little bit, I'm going to bring my family up here. My wife don't want to stay on base, blah, 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 blah. So they kind of talked about that or whatever. And then it moves on to the high school. Then we get into the high school, and I'm still confused because these kids kind of look young, but you see the skirts, the little poodle looking skirts, and the little, what do you call those? Not Melissas. What do we used to call those? They're kind of like those plaid looking shoes, and you kind of like bowling shoes. How about that? And they had their socks and their little sweaters on, and they little curls in their hair. So it's 1960 down. So when you get in there, you see this little girl. Of course, we don't know her name. She goes to her locker, and she just be looking like, just be in a zone. Maybe because she was on medicine. I don't know. I'm on medication. But anyway, she goes to her locker, and as soon as she opened up her locker, pickles just fall down. So everybody's standing around, and I guess this is the time period when bullying was okay and there wasn't no rules to all that or whatever, because everybody should have been in that office or however. So she goes, and the pickles fall, and they just fall on her and break. And we don't know why yet, okay? So then her little homegirl, she comes up and she's talking and was like, I love you anyway. It doesn't matter if you smell like pickles, you still smell good. And all of this. And she telling her, oh, we're going to do this summer. My aunt is inviting us. She's one of those girls. She's a little odd. She wears glasses. She wants to fit in. But her homegirl, Lil, we come to find out is Lily. Lily got some stuff going on, okay? So she just be in a zone. And these kids not making it no better. And then here come her talkative Margie friend talking about who she like and this, and that, and all that or whatever. And then they pass one of the boys that was on that tower. Come to find out that's Theodore, Teddy, and Phil. So then you kind of get a little bit more understanding about these little boys. So they're at, I guess, one of their homes. And so the little boy, being a little boy, he's checking out the neighbor, watching her in her pointed bra. Thank God we don't have them type of bras no more. Jesus. And what women was doing that anyway back in the day? You knew them kids was going to be looking with you having your blind open. So he trying to get a look. And the other boy was like, man, I'm trying to study. He was like, man, they talking about school, all this nuclear stuff going on. The boy like, man, I seen some more planes. I told you something going on. And so the other little boy, Teddy, was like, man, it's been 4 months since Maddie, the one with the pacifier, came up missing. And the other boy was like, man, we don't even know if he's missing, this and that or whatever, and it's not your fault. He was like, man, when it was his birthday, his mama had to pay us candy to come, and we was wrong for that. And I guess he kind of kicked it with him a little bit. They was trying to be nice, but Maddie was like the oddball in the town, whatever. So they tried, and they was like, man, it's not our fault, man. And he was like, but what happened to him? He still hasn't come back around. This is sad, what's going on or whatever. Then it goes back to Lily. She's at home, and she's about to get in the tub. Now, you know how this is with these drains, right? So at the time, if you're not careful, you're not really paying attention, because as she's kind of reminiscing, she looks down at her little charm bracelet, and it's a turtle on there, something that she got out of a Cracker Jack. Y'all remember Cracker Jack? We can get our little prizes. That was so sweet. Anyway, also signs of the time, right? Cracker Jack box. And so she is reminiscing of Maddie, because now I guess it's in her mind too, like, man, this boy been gone for 4 months, blah blah blah. So she's about to take her bath, and her mom come in, and we start to find out that whatever it was about the pickles, right, her dad had been killed. And her mom was like, you have not been to the cemetery, you need to go get your clothes out for tomorrow, you're going. That's it. So, and she was like, and go ahead and take your medicine. I was like, well, dang, mama, she didn't have to talk to her like that. But anyway, so the little girl is getting her tub together, and of course, her coming that old freaky crazy stuff. So she hears something, and it's like a song of some kids talking or something. So she like, Maddie, is that you? And she was like, come talk to me, whatever. And of course, some fingers come up, and he like, they won't let me, and they blooded up. So she already on medicine, tripping about her dad passing. And so it's just a lot. And I don't know if it's like the memory of him being gone is coming to these kids or whatever. And so it's some little song that they hearing in these pipes or whatever. So she reminisces back to when her and Maddie were out for New Year's 4 months back, right? Anyway, and she is where the guy Phil, the little boy who was up on the tower or whatever. What do you call it? Like a viewing deck. Yeah, the viewing deck. So she remembers him taking her there. I guess it was New Year's or whatever. And he was like, yeah, I've been out here with Phil and Teddy, and they told me not to be bringing people to the secret spot. But hey, I guess he liked her or whatever. And that was probably his little last hope, because nobody really knew what was going on with him at home and stuff or whatever. And so she met up there, and they were just talking, and she was talking about her dad. And he was like being very sympathetic, and he was like, it's not your fault, and this and that, just being really nice to her. So they pulled out the Cracker Jack, and he got one toy, she got one prize or whatever. And she was like, I always get the rockets. And he was like, well, you can have mine, and here's my turtle. And they exchanged or whatever, just a little gesture, probably the last little glimpse of hope and love that he had. And so it was New Year's. He tried to reach her and give her a kiss, and she was like, oh, but we're just friends. And he was like, gotta go, let me go, just embarrassing the things he was going through or whatever. And so now this plays back in her mind, because he's gone. She thinks she's hearing him. Then she feel guilty for not, I guess, liking him the way that he did. But she was going through her own things or whatever, and he was a voice to listen to, and she just felt bad. So she's kind of thinking like, I need to reach out to these boys, because this was where we went. So she ended up waiting for them, and she won't answer. She want to talk about her homeboy Maddie, right? So, of course, Lily, the little girl who's the pickle, daddy died in the pickle factory is what they found out when she was telling the boy her dad went in to get a mood ring that she had left out in the factory. So he went in, and somebody's machinery had messed up. So he always wanted to help people, and he thought that the machine was off, y'all, and it chopped this man up. And the town rumor was that he was in some of the pickles. And so why would they know that this happened to this girl and put the pickles in there, making fun of her? It ain't her fault. And so, of course, she blaming herself because had I not took my daddy, blah, 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 blah. So that's how she made another connection with Maddie. So when she gets to school, she telling the little girl, Marge with the glasses, the one who want to be down with the patty cakes, the popular mean girls. So she's like, hey, I'm thinking that I done heard Maddie. And she was like, well, how would you know you didn't hang with him? Because I'm sure she didn't tell her homegirl everything because she was judgmental. She want to be around the popular girl. So she wasn't going to tell her that she was hanging out with Maddie because he's like the part of the loony outcast, the kids or whatever too. So she was like, I mean, you never talked to him. So how would you know this, and that, and blah, 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 blah. So she pretty much was shaking it off or whatever. And so I guess she like, if I can't talk to my friend about it, I'm looking at my notes. She was like, okay, let me go on to his homeboys. Not really knowing that these are not his friends like that either, but they felt bad and things or whatever. So she's at that secret hiding space. So Phil is a real shit talker. He was like, whatever. So she's telling Teddy, and Teddy kind of is like, something's going on. Now, I don't know if the song's been coming to him, but he's more prone because it's hitting him too. He was the one that brought it up to Phil, like, man, he been gone for 4 months, so it's hitting these kids. So he's sort of believing her, but he don't want to just put it on. So Phil like, nah, man, I don't believe this or whatever. And she's like, I heard singing, blah, 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 blah. And they kind of like, So maybe they all heard the singing. And so the detail next is a family scene with Teddy, and he's a Jewish little boy, and I'm sure his family has certain standards. So they're talking, and his dad is asking him about something, and he's just in a daze. So that's probably disrespectful because the family and even the older brother looking at him like, you hear daddy talking to you or whatever. And so he just kind of bust out and he's like, hey dad, I guess through certain situations, I don't know if it was like the Holocaust or whatever war that his dad was in, he was like, do you think people could live in some sewers for months and somebody would keep him down there? And the daddy he taught him, but he kind of was also like, you need to get your mind up out of this other stuff and stay focused. And he kind of go in on him, but he was like, yes, they made our people's skin into lamp shades. And that's also a lot of gruesome history in America and other places that they did that to different cultures, right? So the little boy, he's like, what? And so he gets in bed and he's reading his little bedtime story, I guess, and the lamp starts flickering. I don't even play games like that. Soon as that light would have flickered, I would have been up out of there. So the light flickers again and turns off, so he turning it back on. Next thing you know, all you hear is some faces on the lampshade because Pennywise used your fears and all that stuff against you. And the little boy, he like, what in the world? He done fell all off the bed, and here come the lamp rolling on the floor. His brother coming in and was like, say, man, I don't even know how I'm related to you, man. Get up. Thinking he in there tripping. So the little boy like, so now they finna go on to Looney Lily because, man, this crazy stuff happening to us. And I'm thinking maybe Maddie was in the lampshade. I don't know. Y'all tell me. So now we back on the army base, and Major Hanlon is talking to Colonel Shaw, and he's like, yeah, I handled that. This ain't the South. He not supposed to do this, that, and blah, 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 blah. And he saw Masters when he was coming out, and he gave him one of them Forrest Gump looks, one of them. And so he was like, yeah, kind of asking him about who he was and the secret, this and that, and what he did and all that or whatever. Just let him know, like as though he got his back and all that or whatever. And so, Major Hanlon is one of them people, he's really going by merit and integrity, and he think because he's like that, everybody else is like that. But Colonel Shaw and him, it's something about him I don't like off top, okay? It's just something about it. So then we get back to the kids. So now they're together, and Phil got his little sister Susie, her little cutie pie with the little pigtails. Are you a pig, Amanda? Matilda. And so Looney Lily there and all this or whatever, and Teddy there. So they kind of like, well, how can we find out what happened? So they go, I guess, to the library, and they're looking up kids. You used to have to look those little things. I'm the last generation of 80s, baby. And it was those little things. I think they still have some of them in some of the main ones where you can look through those articles and all of that, those old newspaper articles. And so they're looking and they was, kind of trying to figure out what was going on. So they saw that it was an unidentified 12-year-old girl, the little black girl running. And it didn't say nothing about Cal, the attendant. He was the last person that saw him. So they like, okay, well, let's go probably ask her. So they get over there and running like, go. Do you know what they've been doing to my dad and all this or whatever? Also showing just probably racial tension and things like that. They're blaming the dad, but they didn't blame the other guy or whatever. And so she was like, get out of here, like leave us alone, whatever. And so little mama like, yeah, can we go get us something to eat? Shit, it's all right, whatever. So they like, man, I told you. I think it was Phil. He was like, man, I told you, when nobody gonna believe us about nothing singing in no drain. So Ronnie, her whole face just turned really almost pale. She like, what? And so she started asking, and they basically like, oh, you been hearing this stuff too? You hear that or whatever? And she was like, it's some song that's at the theater by the Magic Man or whatever. And of course, she got the key. So it was kind of light where she was. By the time they get there to the Capitol Theater, it's dark. And I'm like, well, dog, what time do the movie end? And what day was this? But anyway, that's just too many more questions or whatever. So they get in there, she unlock it or whatever. And she goes up there to the top to go put the movie on or whatever. So the kids in there, y'all, they start crying because they feeling like, dang, it's our fault. We should have been better friends to Maddie and all this or whatever. So it had already been getting to Teddy or whatever, and he over there crying and feel like, man, it's not your fault, Teddy. It's not your fault, Lily. We didn't know that this stuff was going on, and, kind of apologizing because they kids, because now they realizing it is something going on in this freaky town. Like, this stuff is for real or whatever, and we probably could have been better to him or whatever. And it's kind of sad. Oh, Lord. Like, they was doing their own eulogy, you know what I'm saying? So, the little sister like, you crying, Phil? Like, so they trying to wipe their tears and all that stuff or whatever. And the film come on, and here come that crazy man going around and mothers in Riverside and all of that, and kind of spewing what was happening in that car with Maddie. So, Goofy Maddie up in there in the film. So they like, Maddie, can you hear us? Come out. This, and that. And he's holding a baby. And so they like, Maddie, we're so sorry. Come on out. Blah, 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 blah. As soon as I would have seen Maddie up in there, I would have been bumped. I'm out of there. Because how you get in there? I'm not supposed to watch you come out. So I'm like, is this some type of 3D freaky stuff going on? I would have been like, nah, Maddie, I'm sorry, dog. I'm gone. So, Ronnie, little mama, she up in the top and she kind of watching, whatever. And so they see him, so they thinking, okay, come on out. So he looked down and then, he get that Pennywise look and throw the baby at him. Some 3D type shit. I'm like, oh, nah, I would have been out of there as soon as I seen Maddie. Then you see the people that he was in the car with. Then it kind of started getting crazy because you start seeing more people popping up. Like they on some follow the yellow brick road. Like that's what it remind me of. And this movie also reminds me of like Poltergeist. I used to watch that. And then Stranger Things, Lovecraft Country. I tell you, it just kind of reminds me of a lot of those things. Like how, the cinematography, all those things or whatever. It's action-packed. It's very detailed. You got to pay attention. Sometimes you got to rewind it over because at first I didn't catch the family in there singing too that took Maddie or whatever. So they caught up in the film too. They all caught up. So he done threw the little crazy bat creepy arm tail of the Crip baby at them. So them being kids, but I was a kid and I'm supposed to run. I always been taught run, tell the stories. When my grandpa used to say, you better tell the story, you better run. I'll come up out some shoes and run. They kind of like looking, baby. He done threw the baby in there on them. So the baby just starts scaring him. He chasing them. He didn't care about them being no kids. Now, these some little, they been the center part of the show already. He done got Teddy, picked him up, threw him, slung him up there by Veronica running. So she kind of like, what? All of a sudden, doors started locking on her. So she like, Ronnie know how to fight. She from the hood. Go look at where they were from when they went to visit them. They across the track like Boosie. They in the projects. Ronnie know how to fight. You get what I'm saying? She smart, but she know how to fight. She from the hood or whatever. So she like, so she get a hammer and she noticing like some trying to block her in. So she bust the window thing or whatever. So she's trying to get down there to them, and it's dark. It's like, where's the town? And I guess it's older, so nobody's really there or whatever, I guess. So she runs down there. Next thing you know, they see Teddy get chopped all up and the blood just splats on Lily. She just stuck to the floor. You know what I'm saying? Which that happened. She wasn't the first one to run, so that the little monster thing went for who was running first, because that's what he like. Who's scared? Lily on the floor, she's scared, but at this point it's saving her. So Phil trying to get Susie because this thing is crawling over and flying at this point. So the little brother and sister, he's trying to jump and help his sister, and it catch him. And it just, that's all you hear, noise and stuff. So little mama trying to squeeze up under the seat and can't. I'm sorry, brother. I would have had to run out that door, but I'm sure the doors was kind of locked or something too, because there's some supernatural kind of stuff. So the little girl trying to, get to Lily. Lily like, come on, this and that. So the thing just, where y'all going? Bites up little Susie. All little Susie wanted to do was be out and help and get her little snack and all that. Just a little knowing little sister. She ain't mean no harm with her cute little pigtails. He done chewed the baby up. So Lily stuck, and here come running like, what's happening? What's happening? But they hear him still eating. He's eating, okay, feeding. And I guess that's where the bodies end up never, being found or whatever, because he's chewing them up, okay? Everybody in the town getting sliced, chewed up, all that or whatever. So Ronnie come in there, and she's, getting Lily. And so they run out, and she closes the door while he's still in her feet. And she's like, what happened? And the girl like, they gone and running like, girl, slap her. She should have. What you mean they gone? And the little girl looked down, and she got it hand. Look like it hand. The little girl Susie's hand is still holding on to hers, and the little girl looked down and just started screaming. And that's episode 1. I'd be in a crazy house too after that. Cause y'all ain't had no business going. Ronnie, you an accomplice, and you fast to get your daddy caught up too. I don't want to blame him, but you can't be nice. Everybody come to your door. I wouldn't have helped them. I don't care if they heard it too. No. I wouldn't have helped. So now she done got them kids killed, got Maddie killed, trying to be a good Samaritan. Sometimes you have to mind your business, even when you trying to be nice, Ronnie. Dang. Oh, and let me go back. Major Handling. They trying him, so he sleep. They done came in there masked all up, and you gonna tell us this? And he was like, they got guns in his face, beating him with poles, all of that or whatever. And he did not break. He was like, that is a secret. He on his loyalty thing to the military. And luckily, Paulie, to the day, come, save the day or whatever. And the guys, they trying to figure out what's behind this, whatever. Why do they want them, all this stuff? And he stays solid to it, a true guy. So shout out to Major Handling for not being no snitch. And so basically this is the end. The little girls are screaming. They trying to figure out what done happened. And this is the pilot. Welcome to Derry, episode 1. This stuff crazy, y'all. Rate, comment, like, subscribe, share, do all of that. Tell me what you think. Drop an emoji for which one you like. 1 through 10. Tell me what you like.